What is up, ladies and gentlebots? What's going on, guys? I am back in the mix. Hopefully everybody can hear me here. Let's see, just getting this trailer set up. Just miscellaneous trailer here, nothing going on special. All right, so what is going on, guys? I'm back. And, you know, everything is not completely up to par yet. So one thing I want to say is, you know, we can't celebrate yet. I don't have everything going yet. Hold on, I just wanted to move a couple of things over to this other monitor here, so I'm ready to go. Okay, so basically what is going on, folks? Why have I been gone for the last couple of days? And it is a PC related issue. In fact, if you go to the YouTube channel, I've named this show, this is episode 231 of the Daily Vlog Live, and the title is, This is Why Consoles Exist. Yes, this is exactly the reason why we have video game consoles, because PC, screwing around with your PC is not always the easiest thing in the world. Now, I've dealt with PCs over the years. In fact, I've built myself, like I've literally built myself maybe like 5 or 6 different PCs over all the years that I've been screwing around with PC gaming. And I've mostly screwed around, well, basically I've had 3 different eras in my life where I was a PC gamer. From, I believe it was late 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, I was pretty much 100% a PC gamer. I was 100% a PC gamer in the very late 90s. Then the Sega Dreamcast came out, and I went back to the world of consoles. Okay, so that was kind of my history. Then in the spring of 2011, I built the computer that I have right now, that I'm still pretty much using 90% of what I had in the spring of 2011. I built a brand new computer, and it was primarily for playing stuff like Fallout 3, which I saw all these other people playing Fallout 3 on their computers, and they had all these texture mods and all this fancy schmancy stuff, man. And so I was on an Xbox 360. I had a PlayStation 3. I was jealous. Everybody had these high-res textures for Fallout 3, which was my favorite game of all time at that time. And so I built a new PC mainly to play console games. I was still, I was using an Xbox controller. I'm not a keyboard and mouse guy whatsoever. I've never been a keyboard and mouse guy. Like, keyboard and mouse is just, I don't get that. I've always been a controller guy. And so I built a new computer to do that. And then I wasn't a PC gamer at all until April of 2016 when I got my HTC Vive. So I basically had 3 different times when I was a PC gamer, and all the other times I've been nothing but a console gamer. And the truth of the matter is that PCs are not entirely easy. Sometimes you can put these things together and everything works great, and it's pretty easy to work with sometimes. And then something goes wrong, and it's when something goes wrong that shit happens. So what exactly happened here? I'm going to go ahead and throw on a little NVIDIA trailer, a GTX 1080 trailer. I'll go ahead and have that on in the background while I talk about this. So basically what happened is Chris from VR Roundtable, I've been saying it over and over again that I'm looking to buy somebody's used 1080 Ti and jump into the world of 1080 Ti's where everybody else is jumping into the 2080 Ti and the 2080 and all that. And I'll take somebody's old recycled garbage and I'll be very thankful for it because I got a 970. And so Chris had a buddy that was selling a 1080 Ti, got it from him. And so what I did that very first day is I opened up my PC case, I took out the 970. Oh, my dog is barking really loud back there. So I took out my 970, I put in my 1080 Ti, And you know what? Hold on a second. I'm going to be right back. I got to let my dog doesn't realize the door is open. Hold on one sec, because he'll be barking all episode long. So hold on one sec. Oh man, sorry about that. So my dog, the thing about my dog, man, is my dog knows that I'm in this room here. And he goes over to this corner and he'll start barking and barking and barking because he knows that I will let him in. The door is already open, but he doesn't realize it. He thinks the door, it's a long story. Anyway, so I let my dog in, so now we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so what I did was I took out the 970 and I just put the 1080 into the slot that I had my 970. And I connected the right power things and all of that. And then I tried the PC out. It didn't work. I was having this problem. And then everybody said, hey, man, you got to buy a new power supply. Or they said, hey, man, you got to update the BIOS on your motherboard. Those were the two number one suggestions. Upgrade power supply or get yourself a brand new, update the BIOS, right? So I went to Fry's. And well, I checked my power supply. I had a 520 watt Seasonic in there. And so I realized, okay, you know what? I probably do need a new power supply. So I went to Fry's. I bought myself a new power supply. It was about $100. It was, in fact, this is it right here. It's a thermal take, tough power, Grand Series, blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's $100, right? So I went ahead and bought the power supply, installed all of that, did all of that. And dude, switching out a power supply is a pain in the ass because there's so many freaking wires going to so many different places. But anyway, so I did that. Then I hooked everything back up. Same problem, still not working. You know, tried the 1080 Ti, still not working. Put in my 970, it's working fine. And so I'm like, that's weird. The 970 is working fine. The 1080 Ti isn't working. So then everybody was like, well, we'll do the BIOS. Do the BIOS, update your BIOS. The BIOS, update it on your motherboard. So I did that. I updated the BIOS on the motherboard. Now, the problem that I had was after I updated the BIOS on my motherboard, it kept going into this Windows repair thing, like it wouldn't boot into Windows. And that's really what my problem was these last couple of days, is it kept doing this thing. And it was the simplest fix ever. I didn't realize this. All I had to do was go into the hard disk controller part of the BIOS and change it to IDE, because I have an old ass IDE hard drive that's in there. And that's all I had to do. And then bam, it booted into Windows. And so now I'm back into Windows and everything, but I still had the 1080 Ti problem, right? So I put the 1080 Ti back into the slot that I thought it should go in, still wouldn't work. Even though I've got a brand new power supply, I've updated the BIOS, all of that. Now, one of the suggestions a number of people told me was, try putting it in a different PCI slot. Use one of the different PCI slots. So I tried that and it worked. It worked. But here's the problem, guys. The problem is, and I'm gonna switch over to where it shows my motherboard here. Okay. So here's web browser with small video windows. So this is the motherboard that I have pretty much. I think this is my Asus. It's a P8 P67 motherboard. Now, do you guys see this blue PCI slot right here, this dark blue one? Okay, the way I understand it, this is, see, it says PCIe X16. This is the only slot I have that is an X16 slot. So this is the slot I had my 970 in, and this is a slot I tried to put my 1080 in. For some reason, the 1080 Ti will not work in this slot. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Now, I put it in this other one over here, this black one, but it does say PCIe X16 right there. I'm not sure if it says that on my motherboard, but I put it in this black one, and it seems to work. Okay? So that's where I'm at right now. So right now on my computer is up and running. It does have a 1080 Ti in it right now. The 970 is not in there. The 1080 Ti is on this black PCI slot. It seems to be running, okay? Now, the thing is, the only game I went into last night was In Death. I finally got all of this stuff operational basically by 8 p.m. last night, 9 p.m., and I updated the drivers. You know, I updated the drivers for the 1080 Ti. I use this thing called, it's this thing where it removes all the drivers. Like there's this program that will remove all of your drivers. I forget what it's called. It's like DDU or something. Like it'll remove all of your drivers, and then you have no drivers at all. It's like goes back to like the Intel drivers, right? And so I did that, and then I updated with the newest possible driver for 1080 Ti, and then I went into In Death. I was playing In Death. I'm still getting some kind of crappy performance though. I still have some kind of crappy performance here. Now Simplex PL says you can use some diagnostic tools like GPU-Z to see if the card is actually working with 16X. Yeah, props for using DDU. Yeah, I did use it. I did use DDU. And so I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to figure out, like, is this working right? Because I don't know that it's working right. But at least my PC is up and running. At least the 1080 Ti is in there. I updated the BIOS. I got this new power supply. So I don't know. We'll see how it works. But my PC is acting like really sluggishly. One of the things that I think I need to maybe do here is some people have suggested to get an SSD and to reload Windows. Like maybe something is wrong with my Windows and stuff. And so one of the things I have been considering is getting an SSD, getting my Windows onto the SSD, and then basically getting all the stuff that's on the hard drive I have now that is key onto my external hard drive and wiping that hard drive completely. And I don't know, maybe that will help. I don't know. So the other thing too is when I had this problem with my BIOS, one of the things that I did, because at one point I couldn't get into my BIOS. I actually screwed something up where I could not get into the BIOS at all. And so I popped out the CMOS battery, you know, the little round battery that's on your motherboard. I popped that thing out, and that allowed me to get back into my BIOS by taking it out for a couple minutes, putting it back in. And so here's the deal with that. I was overclocking my i5 2500K. I was overclocking that shit to hell and back. Well, by taking that thing out of there, I think it reset everything. So now I'm not overclocking my i5 2500K. And I don't know. So there's still some issues. The bottom line is I'm back up and running. I can do this show. I just couldn't do the show these other days because it was so hectic. So many things were going on in the background. And so it was just like, man, I just didn't want to deal with it. So that's kind of the way it was. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our regular intro real quick. So yeah, this is the VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog Live. This is not PC Tech 97 or whatever. It is episode 231. It is Tuesday. It is October 16th. I have missed 2 days in a row. What a terrible tragedy for me to miss a couple of days in a row. Luckily, not a ton of stuff was going on. So there wasn't a ton of stuff that was going on right now. But I do have some... Yeah, Fluke Rogie says, IDE? You've still got a parallel port printer? No, I don't know about... I just know that I switched it from God, what is it? It's like 8AHCI or whatever. I had to switch it to IDE and then it loaded up. It's HDD IDE. Yeah, legacy settings. I don't know, man. I'm not a goddamn PC guy. I'm more of a console gamer, and I'm just screwing around with these PC games. Anthony has a problem with word pronunciation. I have a problem with a lot of stuff. How much RAM do you have in your PC? I have 8 gigs of RAM. It is DDR3, 1600 megahertz. The RAM, I believe, is from spring of 2016. Or did I upgrade the RAM at a certain point? But anyways, it's DDR3 RAM, I believe, and it's 1600 megahertz. Yeah, AHCI. It was set to AHCI. I had to switch it to IDE. Then it loaded into Windows, and I was able to get Windows. And then Skiva007 says, you can't put a racing transmission in a Toyota Corolla and expect a race car, LOL. But wait a minute, I thought I could get a Carmen Ghia and put a Porsche engine in my Carmen Ghia, man. Don't you remember all these people like in the 80s and stuff? They're like, I've got a Porsche engine in my Carmen Ghia. So I thought you could kind of do that, but I don't know. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of drama. And then 106 says 8 gigs. You need 16 or more, dude. I need to completely rebuild this entire thing. I need a new motherboard. I need a new CPU. I need new memory. I need an SSD. I need all of it. You know, all of it. But the good news is this: I got a new power supply. I've got a 1080 Ti. If I get an SSD and do that, it's kind of like I'm slowly but surely working my way along. And so if I have a new SSD, a new power supply, a new 1080 Ti, well, new to me, then at the next step, I can get a new motherboard, the new CPU, the new memory, and then it's not like I'm doing all of it in one fell swoop because it's just too much money. I paid $415 for the 1080 Ti. I paid $100 for the power supply. I'm kind of wondering now, would everything have worked with my original power supply? Maybe I could have stuck with my original power supply. Okay, so I'm going to put on a trailer right now, guys. This game is called Contractors, I believe. And let's check this out. This is a new trailer. Let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so that is Contractors, and I believe this is by Caveman Studio, and I believe it is heading to early access in early December. So we're getting a lot of these games. You know, we are getting a lot of shooter bang bang games. You know, shoot bang bang. We have Zero Killed is already available for $15. Nobody seems to be talking about it. Zero Caliber is coming in November. Then we got stuff like Population 1. We've got War Dust. You know, so many of these games. And so now we have Contractors by Caveman Studio. And Kevgret says, this is a poor man's Firewall, which is a poor man's Rainbow Six, which is a poor man's blah. You know, it kind of goes and goes and goes, right? But you know, the good news with this, in my opinion, is eventually one of these games is going to stick. Eventually one of these games is really going to work, because right now it's been pretty much Pavlov and Onward and Onward and Pavlov and Onward again and again. Those have been the two games that have really resonated with the vast majority of people out there in terms of multiplayer, team-based, strategic FPS kind of games like this. And so Contractors VR is going to have snap turning, smooth turning, field of view limiter. It's going to have all this different stuff. I'm looking over here at some of the details of it, and this is going to it's going to release into early access in early December. We don't have an exact date on it, but it features 5 vs 5 hardcore gameplay, and it's made with Unreal Engine 4. Looks kind of cool. I mean, graphically, this looks pretty cool. Of course, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Ultimately, it depends on how this thing plays. But how many games are we going to see where you see the sniper and you see the scope? That's the screenshot that everybody wants to show off, that firewall looking kind of screenshot. And Dr. Freeman says, I'm on Pavlov every day. I consider it the gold standard of VR shooting. My question for you, Dr. Freeman, has any of these other games, have you tried any of these other games that have come down the line and thought, well, maybe this other game is going to step up to the plate, and then you tried it and it just didn't step up to the plate? What else have you tried? Or are you just perfectly happy with Pavlov and you're just avoiding these other games? Or do you need a demo? Do you feel like if there isn't a demo, you're not going to worry about that? And then the other thing that we have going on here in chat is a lot of people are talking about SSDs, and Jim Hall says, yes, you didn't need a new power supply, although you would have been pushing it hard. Well, see, the power supply that I had before, it's actually sitting down over here. It's this Seasonic 520 watt, but it is a really, 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 really good Seasonic, because I researched the shit out of power supplies back in the spring of 2011, and this baby was the bang for the buck champion. Really, really solid. And I think it may have worked okay for a little while. But it's probably better to have this bigger power supply. And then a lot of people saying, like Lethal Weasel is saying, do your research before buying a budget SSD. They are not all equal. Crucial makes good drives for less money. And Jim Hall, I think this is a suggestion. He's saying SSD M2 NVMe. I'm not sure if that's a particular type of version or whatever. But Simplex is saying his motherboard is too old for M2 NVMe. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. The motherboard is so damn old, so it's problematic, to be sure. Paul Bellino says, Onward is the shit, hands down. Onward is the shit, hands down. Just needs more maps. Throw a comma in there, Paul, if you can. But yeah, I need a new motherboard. I need a new CPU. I need a new RAM. I need all of it. So maybe I'll hold off on the SSD for now. I just want to see if I can get my 1080 Ti running at a halfway decent rate, and we'll move on down the road from there. Baby steps is kind of the way I think about it. Okay, let's go to another trailer here. I do have a couple of different trailers for some games that are coming down the pipe. So another trailer that I have is Drone Strike PSVR, and I think this is actually available right now. Let's check this out real quick. I'm gonna look it up on the PlayStation Store, see if it's out. Why is this size wrong? Okay, so that is Drone Striker, And that is available. I don't know if it's available today or yes. No, it released today. Okay, so this is available today, right now. If you have a PlayStation VR, you could pick this up if you wanted to. The regular price is $10. It does have 10% off right now. It is $8.99. Nine Bones, Drone Striker, and Winking Skywalker Entertainment Limited. These are the same guys that I think they brought out the Walker, and I think they brought out 18 Floors. So they've been doing a number of different games. It's only $9, so it's not a tremendous amount for this. It just looks kind of like a shooter, kind of, yeah, Time Crisis very much. Fluke Rogi says, I played through the actual arcade version of Time Crisis 3 at the weekend. We need those old weighty arcade guns with some recoil. Yeah, I believe this is just kind of a shooter game. And I think it does use the aim controller, actually. I think that was in my email that you could use the aim controller. Yeah, enhanced play with PSVR aim controller. So if you picked up an aim controller for Firewall 0 Hour or for Farpoint or whatever, and you're looking for something that you might want to play with that, you might be able to try this. $9 at the moment. Just came out today. So just wanted to mention that really quick. Okay, let's see. We do have a couple of other trailers to get into real quick. So, a lot of us have been asking for Beat Saber on the Oculus Go. And we don't have Beat Saber on the Oculus Go, but we do have this game. It is called Beatron 2000, I believe, for the Oculus Go. Let me look this one up. But it's kind of Beat Saber with one controller. Let me see, Beatron 2000. What is this thing called again? I'm trying to look it up. It's a new rhythm game. Yeah, it's coming to the Oculus Go. Okay, so it's not out yet. But yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of cool. Let's check out full screen for a sec. Available fall. That kind of looks like Cyberpunk right there. Just the graphics. Yeah, looks kind of boring, but oh well. If you really want some type of Beat Saber, I guess you could go with this on your Oculus Go. So, made in 2000, pretty much, kind of looks like it. But, it might look pretty good in the headset. That's the thing. It looks very simple, but this could look pretty good in an Oculus Go headset. That's one of the things about the Oculus Go. I'm always surprised by how good things actually end up looking in the headset. They can always look quite a bit better in the headset. So that is Beatron 2000. It is coming to the Oculus Go, not currently available right now. And there also will be like a free beat editor for it. So you can kind of edit your own songs and stuff. So that's kind of cool. I mean, obviously, it's pretty obvious that they saw Beat Saber and they saw a tremendous opportunity here to bring out a game that is very similar. And so, that's what they did there. Let's see here. Close this. Okay, so let's see what folks are talking about over here in chat. Andy Sky says Acer VR headset for $139. That includes the controller too? Wow. Is it refurbished? I'm guessing it's refurbished, right? But that's still a pretty good deal. See, I can't buy one of these, though. You know why I can't buy one of these? I've thought about it. I can't get one until I get a new motherboard and a new CPU and the new CPU instructions. None of the Windows mixed reality headsets will work with this old crappy motherboard, if you can believe it, with like the old CPU and all that. Kevgret says, Anthony, did you get the PSVR Beat Saber release date on Saturday? No. Nostradamus Jr. was not correct this time. Nostradamus Jr. failed all of you. No, there is no Beat Saber date, which I still think is beyond amazing. I can't believe that that's going on here. And then let's see. Charles Van Nolan says, it is already following a neat aesthetic, but it's clear there's no glow bloom FX, which I know mobile can't hang with. And T-Dub says, just to go off topics, folks, is it worth buying Winlands 1 for £5 UK or skip straight to Winlands 2? No, you know what? For £5 UK, you probably do want to pick up Winlands 1 and play through it quite a bit. Winlands 2 is a major improvement, though. So you can get somewhat of a bad impression if you just go into Winlands 1 and then think like, what is the hubbub about Winlands 2? It's very much improved. But I still think you'd be okay dropping £5 on the first Winlands. Absolutely. And Ekin Hawk says used motherboard and processor combos are pretty cheap. Here's the thing, Ekin Hawk. Okay, if I go down the road of the motherboard, CPU, memory, all of that, see, the thing is, I don't go crappy. When I buy things, I usually try to buy good items. And I usually try to research the shit out of stuff. Like when I built this PC back in the spring of 2011, I researched for a long time on what motherboard to get, what power supply to get, the hypercooler fan for the Intel CPU. You know, I researched that stuff. And I research on places like NeoGAF and all these different places where these people really know their shit. Like they really know their shit inside and out. And they'll tell you, you know, bang for the buck, this is where you want to go. And then I'll go to like Tom's Hardware Guide and I'll look at the different CPUs. And so it'll be like, well, you can get this Intel CPU for $180, but if you pay $260, you get this other Intel CPU, and there's a pretty big difference here. Or if you go up to $290, you know, so there's all these different trade-offs and stuff. And I like to really explore that and figure that out. And so I don't normally go for the cheapo stuff. I normally try to be kind of like research stuff. And then Phil Urine is talking about a Ryzen. Normally, I'm not an AMD guy. Oh, yeah. And then Hard OCP. Yeah, those guys know their shit as well. They really know their shit. Not normally an AMD guy. I know these Ryzens are pretty decent, but I've always been an Intel guy. In fact, I used to have stock in Intel back in the day. I was always an Intel guy, always getting the new Intel chips. And yeah, it's kind of like a brand loyalty thing. I mean, I'm okay. I could jump over to AMD. Like I could hop on the red team, but I don't know. I've pretty much been Intel. So it's just something I would have to research, but I'm the type of guy that has to research. Oh, Simplex PL says Tom's Hardware was sold and it went to shit. Yeah, that's the thing is some of these websites are not the same people running them anymore. And then Crunchy says, don't hate on AMD. Intel needs the competition. It absolutely does. And I'm not trying to hate on AMD. And it could be price to value ratio. Maybe the Ryzen CPU and all that is the way to go. But then if you go down the Ryzen path, don't you get a motherboard that is designed so then you're kind of stuck in the whole AMD thing, even if you want to upgrade later and all of that? So I don't know. I'll look into it. I will look into it, but I'm not going to really worry about that too much right now. Simplex is saying prices of Intel CPUs are crazy now. Oh, like they're crazy high. So maybe you don't want to F with that. Yeah. So I'm not going to worry about all of that right now because I've already dropped like damn near $600 on all this. You know what? I dodged a hell of a bullet though, guys. I dodged a hell of a bullet. Do you know that I took this PC tower because it wasn't booting into Windows and I didn't know what the hell to do. I took it to a number of these different repair shops yesterday, and I went into these repair shops and they wanted all this money just to like see what was going on. And then they wanted to hold my tower for a couple of days. And I was like, man, these guys want like $80 and just to figure out what's going on. Or they want to hold my PC for like 2 or 3 days. And then when they got to it, they could diagnose it or whatever. And I'm lucky I dodged all of that because I was thinking, well, I'm not going to pay $80-90, maybe not even get this fixed. That's money I could buy a new motherboard with that. And I could just go down that road. And then I found out later in the day, I made a minor change to my BIOS and I bypassed that whole repair thing. But think about it. I could have dropped this tower off to one of these places, paid like another $150, and all they would have had to do in the repair center, the only thing they would have had to done is got into my BIOS, changed it to IDE in the disk controller, boom, and they'd be like, "We fixed your PC. That'll be $158." And luckily I dodged that. So that was really cool. I'm so glad I dodged that. So let's go to another trailer. There was something interesting that I saw. This is world scale with the Vive Focus. Have you guys seen this? This guy is on a football field and he's just walking around everywhere in some kind of like RPG style game. I don't know if he made this game himself or what this is, but this is on a football field and he's just walking everywhere. I think there is some audio here. Let me check this out for a second. Just chirping and stuff. But let's make this full screen for just a sec. So yeah, you can see like maybe a high school football field or something here. The guy's walking around. He's using a Vive Focus, and he's exploring this world.
My lord, surely this is God's doing. That first you educate your peasants, and now I, your humble servant, use writing to be of service to you. None of the baron's servants, nor the baron himself, it is rumored, know the written word. I have hidden one of your keys beneath an overturned wheelbarrow. God save you, good lord. Please come save us.
Yeah, so this guy's doing some kind of little RPG type thing, but football scale. He's on a football-sized field walking around. There's the key, so he found the little key right there. And you can see people running around on the track behind him, probably wondering, what the hell is this guy doing? But yeah, push the button is saying you can do the same thing with a Mirage Solo. And I think, isn't the Mirage Solo, like, isn't there a deal on it right now or something? The price dropped. Forget where I saw that somewhere. But maybe it was like Road to VR or something. But I saw somebody had a deal, I believe, on the Mirage Solo. Let me pop up Road to VR, see if I can find that. Yeah. So let me show you guys real quick over here. So this is Road to VR. You can see Lenovo Mirage Solo is on sale on Amazon for $320 now. So it's dropped quite a bit. And yeah, you can do that on the Mirage Solo and of course the Vive Focus. That's the nice thing about these standalones is you can kind of screw around and do with this stuff. Oh, check this out, guys. 6 cents to refund STEM Kickstarter backers after more than 4 years of delays. This is really good news for Chris of VR Roundtable fame because he was a backer in this and he thought his money was long gone. And everybody thought, we all thought his money was long gone. And, Kickstarter is kind of a donation thing. So it's kind of like you kickstart something, you kind of need to forget about that money, but he's going to get his money back. So that is super cool. And then here's where I saw this prototype world scale VR game, the size of a football field. That's where I got this. This is at sixervr.com. Return to Grindland, world scale on the VR Vive Focus. That's where we saw that video there. And then in other news, Jaunt, did you hear about this, guys? Jaunt has laid off a significant portion of their staff. They're shuttering all their VR production and they're focusing on AR. And not sure why they're able to focus on AR. Maybe they got some investments from Magic Leap or somebody else where they got some money coming in where they can still do AR. But yeah, Jaunt has laid off a huge part of their staff. So that's kind of unfortunate there. Crunchy says Solo doesn't have 6 degree of freedom controllers. Mirage Solo is on a dying platform. And Push the Button says Google have killed Daydream. There's nothing new. Crunchy says, why get that when Oculus Quest is on its way? Yes, it is on its way, but we're talking spring of 2019, and spring goes all the way into June. So technically, the Oculus Quest may not be available till early June. I mean, we're hoping more March, April, but it could be a little while. So some people that just don't want to wait. And Andy Sky, oh my God, dude, check this out. He lost $1,050 after backing Cybereth Virtualizer Wow, that fucking wait, I gotta watch my cussing here. That really sucks. That really sucks. That's the guy with the ponytail. That's the ponytail guy, right? Whatever happened to that guy? I thought he was legit. Wasn't it? That's the guy with, you know, the ponytail, and he's running along on his cyber thing, and he's playing like Fallout 4 and all of that. Whatever happened to all those things? I remember way back in April of 2016, like when I first got my Vive, like all these different treadmill things were really big on YouTube, you know, Kickstarters, videos, everybody was really into it. And it's a damn shame that none of that stuff ever really worked out in the end. And a lot of it kind of faded away. But yeah, I haven't done too many Kickstarters. The only thing I ever did with Kickstarter, so I guess he's still around and he's pretending he spent all of our money on stuff. He got a haircut, a mustache, and glasses. Oh my God, that freaking sucks. But the only Kickstarter thing I ever did was Night Trap. You know, Night Trap had a Kickstarter for bringing back Night Trap, and I invested in that Kickstarter, but then it didn't happen. It ultimately didn't happen, and everybody got refunded, so I got my money back. And then Night Trap ended up coming out anyway. Like somebody else picked it up and backed it or financed it or whatever, and Night Trap did coming out for PlayStation 4, but I've never actually played it. I never ended up getting it. But I did back that. I just backed it because I was kind of into full motion video back in the days, and I wanted to see that happen, so I backed that. But I'm not really a Kickstarter guy. Pretty much don't mess with Kickstarter. Okay, so I have one more trailer to get into real quick. This is called Bring to Light, another horror game. We've got millions of them. Let's go ahead and check this one out. It's from Red Meat Games. All right, so that is Bring to Light by Red Meat Games. I forget when that's coming. Let me see if I can find out when that's coming. But yeah, it actually looks pretty decent, honestly. Like I like the way, like the lighting, the flickering, the lights off in the distance. All of that stuff looks really good when you're in a VR headset. So I like what they got going on here. Like that, I really love that. And the thing about it is when you have a VR headset on, and it's dark in a lot of places, and you see a nice glowing light off into the distance, it's straight up human nature to want to go to the light. You don't want to be in the dark. You want to be able to see what the hell is going on. And so a lot of VR developers, they know this. They take advantage of that. They know you're going to go towards the light, and then they're going to scare the living daylights out of you because something's going to jump out of somewhere. Some weird spider-looking creature is going to crawl up right behind you and scare the living daylights out of you. But this is Bring to Light. Looks kind of cool. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Bring to Light is available now. Oh, shit. This is available right now? Let me look it up then real quick. Bring to Light on Steam. I didn't know this was available right now. So Bring to Light is, yeah, it's available right now. Wait, this came out on July 13th? Why am I just looking at a trailer now? Huh, that's weird. Okay, so Bring to Light. I guess this came out on July 13th. I don't remember it. It's positive. It's got 15 reviews. It's $20, and they've got a heart rate monitor clarification. Oh, okay. They were saying that they previously mentioned that our game supports Bluetooth connectivity for like your heart rate monitoring to like make it more scary, I guess. So this is playable in an Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and with mouse and keyboard or gamepad. and it's been available for a little while. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody talk about this. I thought it was a new game coming out. So anyway, happened to see that trailer, thought it was new, but guess not. 20 Bones, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, with a lot of these horror games, there's just too many of them. There's too many horror games. And so if you're this company, Red Meat Games, do yourself a favor and somehow have some type of short demo. You know, have a short demo, because it's just going to be very difficult for a lot of people to get excited about your game when it's 20 bucks. We've all got a million horror games already, and we don't know if this is any good or not. If you give us a demo, we can get into your game, we can screw around with it a little bit, and we can see if it runs well, see if we like the vibe of it, and then maybe we can go ahead and pay the 20 bucks and go ahead and jump on it. But right now, I don't know. I don't know that a lot of people are going to do that with this game. Okay, Fluke says the Astrobot demo is out, by the way, for anyone who hasn't tried it yet. And Conrad Lawrence says, had my cousin in Beat Saber today. She squalled when she realized that she was playing, when she realized what she was playing, and had a blast. Okay. And John Edwards is here. He's late for a very important date. The Rex Terra says, has anyone tried Visage? I forget, I know I mispronounced this, and then like Charles Van Nolan was like trying to explain to me how to pronounce it, and I didn't read the rest of it, so I don't even know how to pronounce it. There was a way to make it work for VR, even though it's not supported yet. Yeah, see, I know that's the game that's gonna have VR support soon, and it does look kind of cool. Crunchy says it actually looks more open compared to most of the horror games you've seen. Yeah, and then the other thing about this Bring to Light is it does kind of have this puzzle element. You can see that you're like linking these lights up, kind of Talos Principle style. You know, you're kind of connecting these lights. So it looks like it's kind of puzzle / horror. I do like some of these visuals. You know, some of these visuals can look kind of cool. And then Push the Button says, Whitway Studios, do you think Google will make Mirage Solo too? So anyway, yeah, that is Bring to Light. Was thinking that was a new game. I don't know how I got mixed up on that. And let's see, did we have another trailer to go to? No. Okay, so that is all the trailers. So I knew I had a number of trailers to go to. So anyway, guys, we are about 50 minutes into this show. What I can do is we could bounce over to, say, like the Vive subreddit, see what the newest stories are going on over there. So I'm going to go ahead and bounce over there, take a look at that real quick. And like cleavage. So cleavage, cleavage, visage. I don't know, man. I just can't do it. So anyway, I'm going to go over to Reddit real quick. Here is the Vive subreddit. 2001, A Space Odyssey unofficial VR experience. Have you guys seen this? Looks kind of interesting. In stock and $50 off. You can get the OG Vive for $450. I've always kind of thought that HTC might like discontinue the original Vive and just turn the HTC Vive Pro into basically what the regular Vive was, and then we'll get like a legit 2.0 Vive. I've always kind of thought of that. And you know what else I'm going to tell you guys is I haven't been able to do this yet because my PC was all jacked up. But you know Alvin Wang Graylin, the guy for HTC Vive, he had this long, there's a trailer, well there's a, he was at some kind of conference somewhere where he was giving a long talk and talking about everything that HTC is doing and kind of like their future ideas and all this stuff. And there was some very interesting stuff that he mentioned in there. And I have that video, and I'm going to take some clips of that video and then kind of like go through that, and we can analyze some of the stuff that Alvin Wang Graylin said, some very interesting things about 5G and stuff like that. And so I plan on doing that on a new episode, maybe tomorrow's episode. Not sure if I'll have time to do it on tomorrow's episode, but that will be coming pretty soon. So we will get into that, a little bit of discussion on where Vive goes from here. And then play world scale VR on a soccer field near you. I think that's the video that we already saw. They were on a football field. The Gallery 1 and 2 is 50% off or 55% off for both on Steam. I like both of those games, especially the Gallery 2. The Gallery 2 is powerful in my opinion, and it has the Gallery 2 I think has some of the best 3D audio I've ever heard in any VR game, period. The Gallery 2 is pretty dope. Pimax World Tour is coming to the States, another dungeon crawling RPG game that people are talking about. And MRTV, they reviewed Cyber Shoes, improving immersion step by step. That's interesting because I don't see how immersion could be improved with that, but I'm kind of interested to see what Sebastian says about that. And so that's pretty much all. Final Approach is 65% off on Steam. I think you can get that for $5. Oh, here's an interesting one. Is 5G the future for VR? And this is something that Alvin Wang Graylin was talking about, and that's something that we'll get into. So I will get into that on a future episode because I've heard a lot of talk about 5G and how it relates to VR. And so that's going to be interesting. Now, these ultralight gloves, this is something that was in the news. I haven't actually, this happened in the couple of days when I was down. And so, whoops, let me mute this. But, yeah, so this is a news story. But they have these new gloves out here that are, I forget how many grams total they weigh, but it's a lot less grams. And so it appears that we are going to be moving to gloves at some point, which that is exciting. And then let's see, just some other stuff. Oculus chief scientist dives deep into the near future of AR and VR. I have not looked into that. Vox Machina. And the Oculus Store refund policy needs some work. So anyway, that's some of the stuff that's going on. Take a quick little check on PSVR to see if there's any brand new things going on there. Pixel Ripped 1989 is out in New Zealand and Australia, and they're finalists for Best Game at VR Awards tonight. What's going on with this VR Awards? I heard something about it, but kind of last minute that I've heard about it. The Astrobot Rescue Mission demo is now available. And this guy says Static is the bomb. It's on sale, buy it. And I can't really disagree with that. Static is absolutely awesome. Oh, The Great Sea is going to be coming soon for PlayStation VR. That's kind of cool. And that's pretty much it. Oh, this guy says reminder to check your local library. Has anybody ever done this? Like, you can go to your library and sometimes like actually get free games that you could rent and stuff at your library. It's so weird. I never go to my library thinking about that. But anyway, that's some interesting stuff going on there. So let's go ahead and go back over here to chat. Anthony came from console to PC. He doesn't even use mouse and keyboard. Yeah, I'm not a mouse and keyboard gamer at all. John Edwards says, we have one of the wonky standalone Vive headsets for China. Haven't tried using it, so that's probably the Vive Focus, I'm thinking, right? Conrad Lawrence, did you finish Gallery 2? Yes, I did. I did finish Gallery 2. It's one of the very few games that I've actually finished, but I did actually finish Gallery 2. Shirzad Khan City says he's a low-key console fanboy. Are you talking about me? I'm not really a console fanboy anymore. I just bounce back and forth. See, if the console people deliver to me what I'm looking for, I'll stay in the console world because I like how convenient it is. Here's one thing. Let me go off on a little rant real quick before we end this show. I'm going to go off on a minor rant. So all of you that are really hardcore PC VR players and you talk a lot of smack about console gaming and console gaming is for noobs and all this type of stuff, the one thing I can tell you guys though about PlayStation VR is every time I'm in my PlayStation VR and I'm playing Astrobot or Firewall Zero Hour or Static or 2MD VR Football or whatever game I happen to be playing in PlayStation VR, Smash Hit Plunder, whatever it happens to be, whenever I click on anything and select anything, it freaking loads up and everything works, man. Everything works. That's the thing about console gaming. How many times am I in my Oculus Rift and I'm trying to fire up some game and it's giving me some weird view that's going sideways, and then when you quit out of a game, okay, how many have you, this has happened to a lot of you, I know it has to have happened to a lot of you. you quit out of a game while you're in the headset. Like you quit the game out and then it goes and it like goes down and like it screws up your brain. There's so much garbage that is going on in all these PC VR games in terms of all the little things, making it smooth and not having these weird transitions. Like, why do I ever see the Steam background? Why am I seeing all these weird, why are there all these glitchy things? It's not a good experience. It's not ready for prime time. I'm telling you, man, there's an advantage to having a console. When I'm in Astrobot, one of the beautiful things about Astrobot, everywhere you look, everything you do, there's no glitchiness anywhere. There's no weirdness. There's no switching to another screen for 10 seconds while something is loading in the background. They figured it all out. It's a smooth, seamless experience from beginning to end. And when you're in the average PC VR game, there's different little glitchy things that happen, just a lot of bad form, you know? And so, like, a lot of these PC VR developers, when they bring their game over to PlayStation VR, they gotta pass cert. They've gotta pass cert, and that glitchy type of shit where views are changing and it's like half going this way and it's not all dialed in, that won't pass cert. And so a lot of these indie developers are complaining that they can't pass cert, and they got to rework their game because Sony won't approve their game in their current situation. And there's just a lot of problems, man. It's a lot of problems. Okay, so Phil Yearn says, garbage, huh? Play 11. Love, great game, by the way. Cough, cough. Well, what I'm trying to say here is, like, no, I love PC VR gaming, and it is the most powerful experience out there. And I've missed it for the last 2 days. I haven't played a PC VR game for the last 2 days. I've played some Astrobot. I've played a little bit on my Oculus Go, and I've missed that high-end PC VR gaming. But the thing that I don't miss is all the glitchiness of it. Like, you put the headset on, oh, my sound isn't working. I got to go back over to my PC. I got to switch this sound over here, do that sound. Just a lot of irritations, man. That's why we still have console gaming. And then everything that happened to me over these last couple of days with trying to put in a new card, new power supply, update the BIOS, all this stuff, your average Joe Schmo, you know, Joe Walmart, he's not going to put up with any of that stuff. And that's why it's limited to PC gamers that are willing to tinker and do all these kinds of things. And some people really get off on all the tinkering and screwing around with stuff. I don't get off on that. I want to get in and play an experience. I love it. Every once in a while, I'll get into a PC VR experience that is completely smooth from beginning to end. It works the way you would expect it to work. There's no weird screens where I'm seeing my sensors on an all-white background, or it switches to some weird Steam VR background for a couple of seconds. And I know some of that is because of like reprojection and all of that, and maybe my PC is underpowered. So some of that may be my fault from a technical standpoint, from a spec standpoint. But man, why can't everything just be smooth and seamless on the PC? And it's not. So that's kind of my rant there. So anyway, let's see what people are talking about over here. It's the fault of game making kits like Unity, Unreal Engine 4. That's Charles Van Nolan checking in. And the Rex Terra says, I know, last time I tried the Vanishing of Ethan Carter VR, I couldn't get the controller to work. Probably because you have to make sure your controller is plugged in before. There's all these little things that you got to do. You guys know what I'm talking about. You got to have certain things connected. And then sometimes like, oh, I didn't have this connected before I did this. And you got to like follow a certain order. Like all of that shit needs to go away. And that's why I think the Oculus Quest is going to be so huge, because you just put the thing on, you grab your two controllers, you're done, you're ready to go. And it's going to be a dialed in experience. Yeah, the graphics are going to be watered down, but there's something to just putting something on and just having an experience and not having all this glitchiness. It really can drive me crazy after a little while. And John Shrewbook says, and as you say, consoles equal plug and play. T-Dub says, but when it works, and it works most of the time, it does work most of the time, and the experiences are more impactful. They're more impactful. Charles Van Nolan says, the Quest will rock. I can't wait to dev for it. And Crunchy says, and then I just buy the same game for my PC and I enjoyed it so much more. Yeah, you know what some people are talking about is when I get used to this 1080 Ti and I start super sampling and all of that, that PSVR is going to start to look really, really bad as I start to super sample. And I haven't done that yet. And I still don't have the 1080 Ti quite working perfectly yet. So hopefully we'll get that working right in the near future. Prince Alexander says hello. What is up, Prince? Nice to see you. So anyway, guys, I got to bounce out of here. And I do have one show note. So normally, as soon as I'm done with this show, let me go ahead and put on my outro trailer while I'm at it. Man, I've let this other trailer play for a freaking 25 minutes. Didn't mean to do that. So let me throw on the outro trailer. So yeah, this of course has been VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog Live. Make sure to check the website every once in a while. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like the video if you want to. Not the greatest episode again today. I got to get back into the swing of things, but if you want to go ahead and like this video, I won't hate you for that. But what I did want to say, a little show note, is normally as soon as I'm done with this show, well, I wait a little bit of time, and then I download it from YouTube, the archived version, and then I edit that into a 19-minute version. And then when that's done, I start doing timestamps. Okay, here's the deal, guys. I gotta go somewhere today for a whole bunch of hours. So I am not going to be editing a 19-minute version or doing any of the timestamps until much, much later this evening. Hopefully I'll still have time to do it, but it'll be much, much later in the evening because I've got a number of different appointments I got to run to as soon as I get out of here. So anyway, that's basically what I want to say. So don't wait around for the 19-minute version or for timestamps either, because they're going to be a long time coming, but I will eventually do that. All right, I got to go ahead and bounce out of here. Anthony doing jail time. No, not doing jail time. Yeah, I got to talk to my parole officer, man, so hopefully I can stay out of jail. No, not doing jail time. Everything is going good. And Crunchy says, I hope you get your 1080 Ti going. Absolutely, I really hope so. Shirzad Khan said, he says, don't worry, bro. We will bail you out of jail. No, I am not in jail. Everything's going good. I just got some... Really, I'm going to visit my mom. You want to know the truth? I'm going to visit my mom. She lives an hour away from me. I got to drive an hour to where she is. I'm going to spend a number of hours with her, and then I got to drive an hour back. So it's probably going to be like a 5 to 6 hour ordeal. But hey, everybody, visit your mamas. Visit your moms, because you never know when they're not going to be around. I mean, I don't want to go to like a bad place, but visit your moms. And if your moms are in like a different city, different state, whatever, give them a call, give them a call. I've told my mom needs to get Skype. I could do Skype messages with her for like 10, 15 minutes every day, but she doesn't know how to operate anything, man. She can barely operate her phone. Crunchy says, my mom is 1,000 miles away. Okay, well, give her a call, Crunchy. Send her an email. She'll love it. Just reach out to your moms. Everybody visit her moms. I did bring my Oculus Go. Shirzad Khan City says, oh, how sweet. Bring her an Oculus Go. Well, I'm not going to give it to her, but I did bring my Oculus Go the last time. And I put her in a Maze 3D, and she saw that little video, where the chick is dancing around on the Hollywood squares, and she was really entertained by it. She was pretty amazed by how clear everything looked. So yeah, your mom probably already moved to Discord. No, my mom is not. My mom is so scared of computers. All she does is she'll call me up and say, did you hear about Facebook? 78 million passwords. That's all she does, is call me and tell me about like whatever company has given all the passwords away to everybody. She's always worried about that. But yeah, I got to visit my mama, see how my mom is doing, and I will get back. So anyway, guys, have a good one. I will be back 11 a.m. tomorrow. I will be back, and so the show is back on course. That is a good thing. Hopefully get my 1080 Ti up and running and finally be able to try Cyberpunk VR the way it was meant to be. That's what I've really wanted to do. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, folks, later.